Hi everybody, it's Deb from Project Life Deb's Way. Again, I've got a really quick layout that you can make from a Christmas papers, and it's not a Christmas layout. So I've just shown you how you can cut your ephemera and etc. and you use that in your layout so that it's not a Christmas layout. Now I've used the uniquely creative papers, and because it's an Australian firm, you can actually tell that our greens and etc. are more like the gum greens, which is really nice to have a Christmas papers. But I didn't use the full 12 by 12 papers. I actually used the smaller pack, which is a 6 by 6. So consequently, your papers are only this size. And I thought what I did is I just bought the Euphoria pack. I also bought the 6 by 6 papers, and I did buy one large floral sheet for the extra flowers and things that I thought I might need. So I thought I'd give it a whirl and see how I went with my layout, and it did actually really work. I was short on a couple of pieces of paper, but what I did is I just used scraps and sort of cut them around to actually make sure I had enough. So please, if you do like my videos and that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I also do have a Facebook group called Project Life Deb's Way group, if you want to join us and show us what you're doing as well. So I will put a little video after this as a sneak peek, so you can actually see the finished item to see whether you like it or not for the rest of the video. So with no further ado, let's get on with making our cards. So as promised, here is a sneak peek of the layout that I completed, that the tutorial will be about. I do all of the cards right from start to finish in real time with you. And as you can tell, there is not a Christmas saying anywhere in this layout, even though it was a fully fledged Christmas paper collection. So let's get on with some fun and do our cards. This is a real quick view of the papers that are used in my layout. It's called Days of December by Uniquely Creative. The only thing is I didn't use the 12 by 12 collection pack. I actually used the small 6 by 6 pad. And these are the actual papers that I used from that collection, including some of these from one of the pages. I did add some green, this sort of paper, just for a bit of colour. Now, in the papers that I can't show you, there was also a small stripe fab one, which was like this, but much closer together. And there was also a small dotted paper like this one, but it was of course with smaller dots. The only large sheet that I did get extra was this sheet here, which I cut most of these, particularly the flowers here. I also used a full pack of the ephemera that came with the kit as an extra as well. So they're the papers I used. Now when constructing your first card, I've inked all the edges with my Distress Hickory Smoke, which is quite a sort of a nice grey, just to give you, and I've done it very heavily around the actual 6 by 4 card here to give it a really good edging. Now I've done a lot softer edging on this card here, which is our next done in the spot, and this one is 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, so that you just have your border all the way around. So we can attach that down. And just remember, you don't need to overdo your tape with these because they are living in a folder, so they are protected, so they won't get the bashing that you would need a lot of tape for. Now I haven't edged any of these, and I've used a bit of the red stripe just to give a bit of the red colour that goes with the flowers. I haven't used very much, and this card is 1.5 by 3.5. Now I'm going to put this up so it just has the same amount of border all the way around. Now this one came off of the card that had the green at the top and the green at the bottom, and I've just cut a piece 3 inches by just under 2.5. So if you do 2.5 and snip a bit off, and I'm going to run that green running upwards. So I've just got a bit of green here, and the white floats into this area here. And there's no edging on these. So that goes in once again, just getting that nice border, like so. Now with this one, it's what I call an eye candy card. So I'm just going to get, I used a lot of the ephemera that came with the ephemera pack with this, because you didn't have to cut around them. So this one was one of the bigger ones. So I'm just going to pop that onto my piece like so. I'm not going to raise it, I'm going to keep it flat. So we will just put a bit of and just slant it up. Just get the center flower slightly off center and stick that down. This one was another one from the ephemera, which I'm going to put here. Now I will slightly raise that one just a tiny bit. So once again, I'm going to get my cardboard, and even though this is an album, this cardboard is nowhere near my photograph, so I should be fine with that. If you don't like that idea, just get yourself your foam dots and use those. So I'm going to stick this underneath. And then I'm just going to pop that down below here to hide that edge of this card here. Pop that there. I then have got one of the leaves. Now these leaves had a lot of white, so I've actually snipped with my scissors just around the areas that had a lot of white to get this closer to where it had been printed out. I just think it looks that little bit better. Because this is so fine, I'm going to use some of my glue. And just pop that underneath and slant it up. Just get everything stuck down. Now I've got a couple of extra little flowers here which I'm going to poke underneath. Just to even things up. So once again, I'm going to put a little bit of my glue and just attach them. These came off the sheet with all the florals. Which is this sheet here. I cut a lot of these flowers out, the things that I didn't need. I've actually cut just the flowers out to give me these extra buds. And I think what we will do here is I will get a piece of chipboard to put on here with a word for the layout. So I found a nice Enjoy, which I just got a Wick black pen, and I've just made it black. A texter would do. I just like the fact that it's a bit glittery. So I'm going to stick that just up the top. And once you've stuck that down, I have done 2 little words, everyday stories. Now this needs to be raised a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is just put a bit of white cardstock down. Like so, and that makes that this will actually sit nicely. So it's not raised too much, it's just raised that little bit, and it doesn't get lost in all of your layering. So there we have I also am thinking to make this stand out a little bit more. I'm going to try with pencil first to see if I like it. Yes, I do. So in a grey pen, which I think might be a bit dark, I'm going with the gold, the silver pen that I have here, and I'm just going to draw a broken line freehand. Just around the edge. Like so, just to give it a bit, and then I'm going to put some stitch line little V's in. Just to finish off the card there. This was one of the last cards I made, and it is basically made out of full scraps. So with this card here, I've used a white cardstock card because I'd run out of base papers, so I just made do with what I had. I had a piece here that was 5.5 by 3.5, so I've used that. Now what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to put that up into the top hand corner like so. Now I have edged very lightly this card, so we're going to pop that up the top like so. I had a piece of the spot which is 2 by 1.5, and I am going to put that into the bottom corner of my card like so. Now this piece here, I had a bit, but I've cut the centre out because I needed another square to match elsewhere. So I just cut the piece out because this is where the photo frame, and you wouldn't even know that it's gone. So this piece here is 4.5 by 3.5, and I've got this photo mats that I'm going to do. I'm going to do the black with my 3x4, and I have just done it just slightly, so there is a very, very small little excess there. So what we are going to do is we will attach this card into the center of this one. So center that up into where. Now this photo is going to go down the bottom here into that corner and leave a tiny little border on this paper here. So we will attach. Now leave enough here because you will be tucking things in. So I've just put this well and truly over. So we will attach that to our card. And it does look better actually lined up. So I'll line that up and put that in like so. Now I've got some of the odd bits of ephemera, and as you can see it's a Christmas and I don't want Christmas. So what I'm going to do with that, I am going to slide that underneath this card and get rid of that Christmas tree there. So we will just take that down and slide it underneath the other card. And I want that to go to the top of that card like that. I have here a piece of journaling spot which I want to use. So to cover that spot up, I am going to attach that here, down here, and I've got this piece here which I'm going to attach, and as you can tell the stars match up. So we'll just sort of angle that off to one side. I have here the little announcement I'm going to put at the top here. With a piece of the green on the other side, which was just one of the infolias with the Christmas that I took the triangular bit off. So to stick this down, and as you can tell, it's not sitting flat. So what you can do there is get yourself a piece of your cardstock there, cut a piece off and attach it to the back. And where it's raised over, don't put the cardstock. And then when you attach it, just going to cut a bit of that off. So when you attach it, it will sit slightly raised above the flat area, and that makes it sit nice so that you don't get a dip inside your journaling spot there. And then we will put our little tag in here. we will put our flag at the top, which I think, because of how it is, I also need a piece of this just at the top. Because you've got your two dips, I think we will find that will sit nicely at the top. Now I will just trim this down just a tiny little bit more. Pop that. The top like so. And then I will actually put the date here. If you haven't got a date, you could put a description. Now I have this time actually done my photographs for this layout. So I have there the family engagement shot. And as you can see, that if you just wanted the black, but I don't, I want a little white border as well to make my photos pop with this layout. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to take off 1/8 of an inch off the top and 1/8 of an inch off of the bottom of this photograph to show you how you can do your 3x4. So I'm just going to take a slither off of there and a slither off of the top. And then that should fit on my white cardstock with just that small white border. And I think I do want a little bit more of a border. So I've just taken off just a fraction more. And there we have a beautiful white border around our 3x4. So if you get your photographs printed up, you can get them done to your 3x4 size and then just trim them up slightly to get them to fit onto your backing frame. So I'm popping that in like so. And then I will put this onto my black. And there we have our card finished. Now we're going to start our bottom right hand side. And I have got a 6x4 with the print here, and then I cut a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, which gave me just a tiny border. I then cut my photo mat, which is 5 1/2 by 3 1/2, so that I have got a layered photo mat. So I'm just going to attach this down, which I've edged all the card with my hickory smoke. And then I will put, before I put my picture frame, you can actually see here I've got a true 4x6 photograph. Now I need it to go onto this mat here, like so. So I need to decide where that needs to go. So I think for me, I'd much rather have their legs cut off than the top, have their heads touching the top of the photograph. So I'm just going to pencil where I need to cut very gently. Then I will just cut my photograph physically down to where I wanted it cut. There we have trimmed our photograph, and it should fit beautifully on our photo mat now. Now I will put the photograph down first. And then I will attach that onto my other and that way this still matches up the whole theme that I'm doing with the black, white and your photograph. Now because it was such a long photograph, I am going to introduce the pink and the limey green with some flags here. So I'm going to attach this flag down first to get my positioning, and I've got some wording there, so I'm just popping this one on the top, slightly smaller. Now as you can see, it's not sitting nice and flat, so I am just going to put a piece of this and my glue's just at the end of its bottle there. So I'm going to attach that at the top, snip the bit off I don't want, like so. Then I'm going to attach my flags. And as you can see, that has attached beautifully and it's not all warping. And there we have our next little card. I also think, just to give a bit of extra body to this, because the others have got some outlining, and that nice gold pen, I'm just going to put my flags up. So there we have a really easy way. Now I decided to do one full photograph for this layout because I particularly wanted a full one of this photo. Now we'll do the bottom left hand corner, and these are the flowers here which I've cut from here, and I've also cut some from here that were down here. So I've just cut one off here that was here. I've just cut that off. So I've ended up with 3 flowers. These are some of the ephemera, so I've just cut the ends off, cut that one in half, so I've got another half to use elsewhere, probably on the other side of the layout. This had like a Christmas on there, so I've just chopped that off, and I have added a little die cut. I've added some little leaves there to give some extra colour. Now as you can tell here, I have got one strip here which is 4 3/4 by 1.5 inches of the stripe. I have got a piece of card here which is 5.5, but I needed a little bit more. So I had to, and I didn't have any left, so I've just cut myself a tiny little strip, which I'm going to attach on here with just some of my tape. So what I'm going to do here is put my tape on, flip it over so that I can match as best as I can the darker stripes going across. Like so. Then I will just virtually snip off the excess. Like so, to make the piece. Now I don't need that all the way because I would like a border, so I'm just going to chop off just that tiny bit there, and I don't need a I can cut with scissors because it's stripes and they're straight, and this will just fit up the top. So now it is 5 3/4 by 2 1/2. And what's going to happen with that, that is going to sit at the top of the card like so. So we'll just pop that into place. I have edged the outside of this 4x6 card with the grey, and it's the one with just the green bit at the bottom that we use the other piece standing upwards. Here was at the top of this page here that I've just snipped off. So we will leave this one for the moment because I want to explain my photo mats here. This photo mat is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then I've got my white mat at 4 1/8 and 3 1/8, so that will actually sit in like that with that border that we want. So we'll just attach that with our beautiful border all around, as you can see there, so you can actually physically see what's going on here. Now this is a true 3x4 photograph, so I am now going to attach that to the photo mat, and as you can tell, it just needs a slither off of one side. And because I've got tape on it, I'm going to have to cut that with scissors. There we have, and it has that small white border. Now with this, I wanted this red to introduce that red stripe that we used in the top underneath my photograph here. So I'm just going to line that down and do a step and lay the card down. So once you've got that lined up, attach that to your card. Like so, and then your photograph will go into the center like that, so it's in the center of your 4-inch depth. So we will attach that. Now I will be doing work on this side, so I want some tape, but I'm going to put that as tape and not take it off. So we'll put a photograph in. so. Making sure that our squares line up. Now what I'm going to do here is this happy is going underneath here. Like so. And it's underneath the white, between the white and the black. Now, because that is going to be difficult to maneuver, I'm going to put a bit of glue on this particular one. And just make it that you just hide those words. So you just get the peep of that. Now this one, I'm going to slide underneath the black mat, and I want that to come out as far as I can get it. But I won't stick that down yet. This one here comes up the top here. Just slightly down from the photograph there. Now with my flowers, I want this top flower here so that the leaf goes over this and over this. So I'm going to put a bit of glue so I can maneuver. And that goes underneath as far out as I can get it. And then I'm going to pop my flower in over the top, just under the black cardstock there. This bottom one I'm going to attach here. So I just need to add a bit of glue on the bottom. And then this little bit of greenery. I want this to match up because I've used it elsewhere. I just sort of want it poking out there, so there's just a little bit there. And then I'll make sure that that's in right. Then I can lift this card up and take that tape that I'll put in and then actually stick that down. We'll straighten that up. And there we have our next card finished. Now we go on to our 3x4 cards, and as you can tell here, I have done the double matting. So I have got my 3x4 black, and then I've just taken 1/8 of an inch off of the white either side, and then the photograph is virtually, I think, just under 3 inches. So there's 1/8 of an inch off of a true 3. So we have got our cardstock 3x4, And then, as I said, I've taken just off the slither of the white and then double that off of the photograph to give you that white border with your black border. And I have done that on both of my photographs there. So they're easy cards to physically do. Now with this one here, it was the second sheet that had just the green running down. I cut myself a tag, or I think it may have came out of the Euphoria pack. I've just added a little bit of the silver thread. At the top I doubled it up and put it underneath to give me my tag, and I've also edged that with a little bit of black to make it actually stand out on my card, otherwise it just soaked in. Now I will be carrying on where I do the quick edging. Just to match up the other cards. Then I will do my little bit of stitching. To match that up. Now with this particular card here, I only had scrap paper left, so I have cut my 3" in height on both, and this was one of the sheets that had the florals on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is make that into a 3" card. So what I need to do is attach some tape onto that, put that onto my measurement so I can see where my 3" is, hold that card down and then pop the other card on the top, straighten it up. So you now end up with a true 3x4 card, and I am going to do exactly the same with this card. Just layer some pen marks on there and do my quick stitching. Like so, so that they both semi match up. Now we go back to this other card here. All I need to do now is just attach my tag. Like so. This is out of the Euphoria pack, so just get it to lay nice for you, sort of in the middle but showing a lot of your tag. So you may have to just twist it around until you find where you like it. Then stick that down. Now I've got some of that foliage that I said I actually did a die cut of. I'm just going to quickly stick a bit of glue on that. I know it's very delicate, but just going to put a couple of those pieces in like so, and there we have an eye candy card. You could put a little word there if you wanted to. I may actually do that a bit later, like, you know, photo or today or something like that there. Now with this card, I have got a journaling spot that I found, which I want, which is going to go here, in maybe down here, down the bottom there, because you've got your red flowers there. Then I will be putting some flowers in. Now this here you can see is Season's Greetings. So what I'm going to do here is bring that journaling spot into its own area. So we're going to stick some glue on that to get that to stick. I think I even might put it over this side. Bring it down. Then I will stick my journaling spot on. You can handwrite this or type up some words. Anything that you want to do there. And then bring that down, leaving as much of that grey as you possibly can. Now a little flower, I'm just going to pop there. And that came off of that large floral sheet. So there we have our full 3x4 set completely finished. Which will go with our other cards that we have made, like so. And this way you can just double check how things are looking and flowing. And if you don't like the way they're flowing, just jiggle them around. I think I prefer it that way. I think the photographs look much better that way. And you may even find, depending on how you like it, you can juggle. So there we have our first side of our layout. Now we'll start on our other side of the layout, which is the portrait side. So we'll start from the top card first, which is the bottom left hand side that this one will go. So what I've got here is a 6x4 card in the spot, and I did actually put I found some green sort of spludgy card which I needed that went with the tonings of the greens that was used, mainly because I'd run out, because I only used a small pad. So I did go into my stock to find one of these cards. So I'm just going to add this, and this card is 3 1/4 by 5 3/4, and I'm just going to attach that with that tiny border all around. I then have got that nice green spot, which is 2 inches by just under. So if you cut 5 3/4 and then cut 1/8 of an inch off, you will find you'll get that piece just big enough that it will go with a border either side. Now, as you can tell, I've used these tags here, which I want to edge in some black. So just very gently I'm just going to go around that with a little bit of the black, just to make it stand out that little bit more than it would have done with the grey. So what I've done here is I've got my little grey thread. I am going to double that over. Now my system for this is I always have my little loop and I always come from the back to the front. It just means that if you're doing more than one tag, your tags always look the same. And then I'm going to just poke that through the loop and pull it down. And that way you get that lovely flat loop. And then I'm going to just cut off the excess and you get a really nice little tag. Now I'm not going to stick that down yet because I need to position it in its correct position. Now this is from the Euphoria pack. Now I did cut some from, no, sorry, this is from the flower sheet. So I cut an extra one out because you can tell because of the green. So I'm going to put that down here like so. And then I've got some extra flowers that I cut from that flower sheet I'm going to put over the wording. So we need to position our tag where we want it. Then we sort of know where the flowers are going. So I would attach the flowers onto your tag first. Hiding as much as you possibly can. It will just make it easier for when you're placing things. Okay, so now we are going to attach this flower, which I think will be like so. So we will attach our flower to the bottom. Don't press that down yet. Attach your tag so that the flowers look like it's coming like so. And then we will just glue this piece down. Now I don't particularly like that flower there, so I'm going to snip that off. I'm going to put this where that flower was. Then I'm going to re-angle the flower like so. This little flower here I want down in the bottom. And just pop that in. And then I'm going to find a nice chipboard word, the same as on the other side for here. Here we go, I've put my title, it's The Little Things, on there just to finish that card off. Now this is our bottom portrait card on the left hand side. Now I've got a true 3x4 photograph here, so I've got 3 1/8 by 4 1/8 for the white, and then 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 for the black cardstock from my photo mat. Now up the top here I only had enough writing, but it was going the wrong way. But that didn't particularly worry me because I'm completely covering it. So this piece is 2 inches by 3 3/4. So we are just going to pop that up the top of the page like so. Then this is going to go here on the bottom. Now I'm going to put some tape here and then put some of the other tape on the top because I am layering. So I don't want my photograph to move, but I need to get underneath it. Now I'm going to put this slightly across, like so. Now this Christmas here, I liked it for the colours. So I am going to just underneath pop that underneath. So you can't see any of the writing, you just have the green sticking out. Now I also had, from the pad, they had some tags here with square corners, so I just rounded the corners off. And I am going to sit this in the middle of the photograph, as high as I can get it. Like so. Then I have those little flowers that I cut out from that sheet, and they are just going to go underneath here like so. So we're going to glue those down. Because I use the smaller pack with this, your smaller pack is normally about half the price of a larger pack, but you get more papers with no coloured backs. So what I sometimes do is buy the Euphoria pack, the small pack, and maybe if one of the large floral sheets, and that normally gets me with enough to make some cards, make one of these layouts as well. So you do get quite a lot of money's worth with your 6x6 packs. And I think you will find that's one of the strips I had left over from that pack. So we'll just pop our little leaves here, and I'll put that upside down. The leaves are growing the wrong way around. I'll stick another one up the top. This is where your glue comes in fantastically. Okay, now I've also got Oh What Fun, which I liked for this photograph. Now I am going to just put this up in this top hand corner, and because I can't see that foliage, I'm going to move that over here so I can. Now that needs to be raised up a bit so it really pops. So I am going to cut my piece of cardboard. There we go. And I'm going to put this up the top. Then I will stick my word up in that top corner like so. And there we have our next card layered with just bits and bobs with no Christmas anywhere in sight. Now we're going to start our top portrait cards. Now with this one, I've got my 6x4, which I have edged with my ink. I have got the spot here, which is a 5.5 by a 3.5, which is going to go in the middle of this card. So we can attach that straight to our card. Then I cut an inch strip of the red stripe, which is going right in the middle of the card, and it's a full length, so it's 6 inches by an inch, and that needs to go right in the center of that card like so. I then cut some little pieces which are just over 2.5 inches. It doesn't matter about how long they are. These were just some scraps I had, and I want these just popped on the card. The top with a border and the bottom with the same border, like so, like that. Then the photo mat I've got here is a 3.25 by 4.25, and then I've got 3.125 by 4.125, and then I've got a true 3x4 photograph there, which is going to go in the middle, slightly down, because you know I don't like things having everything symmetrical, down the bottom. Now the reason why it's going further down the bottom is because I want to do some layering at the top here, and I have got a piece I've cut from the paper and a piece of the Euphoria that came from the Euphoria pack, and I want to just poke those underneath the frame like so. So I'm going to glue those in. Once I get my glue on the go, I'm just going to pop that in. And then I will stick the other one in. Fiddle around until I've got it where I want it to go. And there we have a very, very simple card done in an instant. Now I forgot to print the photograph off for this one, so I've done the photo mat ready, and the photo mat once again is 3.25 by 4.25, and the white is 1/8 of an inch less on the sides. So we have got a piece of the floral. Now I've got the grey spot, which I want to put down onto my card. Now this card here is 2.5 by 1/8 of an inch off of 6 inches. And I think I might just chop off just a tad off the bottom there to give me the same amount of border. So then we're going to stick that in like so, and then the photo mat is going in the middle of the card down the bottom like so. So it ends up with the same amount of border on either side of the page. Now the top here, I have got the floral here, And I also have a piece of the other part of that Christmas that we had. So I want a piece of tape running down there, and I want that down the side of the card there, just to give a bit of colour. And then this is going to go here. So we'll tape all of this down, and like so. This goes up here, and this introduces the same little logo that we had on the other side, and this as well. It just evens everything up. Now, if you found your leaf is a bit big there, just go in with your scissors and just round it off so it looks like a leaf and it's not sticking out anymore. So there we have the card ready for the photograph. Done. Now we go on to our 4 of our landscape 3x4s. So as I said, I've copied exactly what I did on the other side for my 2 photographs here, with white borders and etc. So just repeat what you did before. Now with this one, it's a 3x4. Now once again, I'm using scraps of paper. So I've got a couple of pieces of the green, which came from that square that I cut out on one of the first cards that I did, because I didn't have enough and I just needed it to continue it on the other side. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to have a flower popped in here. So I want my layering of my cards on either side of where that flower will be. So we'll pop that in like so. And as I said, we will have our flower down here. So as you can tell, you can't see. So then I also had some scraps of the red stripe, which I want to put in the middle of those green pieces. So we'll just lay them into, and then this will go down here like so, as far down as you can get it, because I got part of the other piece of ticket that I cut on the other side, which we want just to pop underneath like so. So we'll do that as well. So hold your flower and then tuck this underneath. Like that. Then I've got another piece of the floral which I'm going to cut those leaves off because I really don't want them in. So we'll cut those off and just have our one little flower poking out the side. So once you've decided where this is going, stick it down. We're going to pop that flower on there as well. Like so. And there we have our bottom card done like that. Now this one here, I used the rest of the card that had the floral on the bottom. I have done my silver around with my little stitching. I have got one of the old tags. So once again, I will fold up my silver to keep the continuity going through the layout. And you come from the back up to the front. So there you get a nice little loop. Cut the excess off and fan it out. Now we're going to put this here over this side. The 2003 is going up into this corner. Now I'm going to stick my tag down before I start adding my florals, and I might even cut a bit more of that off. Okay, so now we're going to attach the florals to literally cover up that Christmas. So we'll just stick all of this down. And I've got a little bit of greenery here. Then we've got some of our little leafy bits. I'm going to add a couple to this. And there we have our two cards. So we've got our date card and we also have our middle card. So I'll just bring the other cards up. So this was a Christmas kit, but as you can tell, you wouldn't even know that it is a Christmas theme. So there we have our cards, and as I said, I will add the photograph that I forgot to print off here. Thank you for joining me on this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the process. And don't forget, if you did like doing my cards and tutorials, don't forget to subscribe and like my YouTube channel. And until next time, keep crafting. Bye.